The third major economic goal is high and sustained economic growth. How do we know that our economy is performing well? And how do we compare one economy to another economy? How can we compare the performance of the Philippines to that of the United States and to other countries in the world? It is through the gross domestic product and the gross national product. So what's the difference between the two? Okay, let's dissect the definition of each. Let's start with GDP. GDP is the sum of the market value, okay, market value of all final goods produced within the country's border in a given period of time. Okay? So let's start here with the final goods. Final goods means it goes directly to the where? To the consumers. Let's say, for example, you bought mango from the market, and that mango costs 10 pesos. And then you cook it, and then assuming there are no other ingredients, only mango and water, ipabukalan na nimo. So pagkakuman, ikaon nimo, so that is calculated in the GDP. So the GDP there is 10 pesos. What if you use the mango to make siopaw? Wala ka lang. So siopaw now, you are selling siopaw at 25 pesos each. What will be calculated in the GDP? A, 10 pesos. B, 25 pesos. C, 35 pesos. The answer here is 25 pesos. Why? Because the final good is already the siopaw and it costs 25 pesos. Now, if your answer is 35 pesos, you are committing an error in national accounting as what? National income accounting. The error is double counting because you calculated the mango twice, 10 and 25. Where in fact, mango here is not the final product, however, it is the intermediate good. In calculating for the GDP, we only focus on the final good. Okay? Not the intermediate one. Let's continue. Produced within the country's border. Anyone doing business in the Philippines, foreigner or Filipinos, their income is part or calculated in the GDP of the Philippines. The only difference here with GNP is this. The income of foreigners are not calculated in the Philippines. Okay? However, the income of OFWs doing what they're doing outside the country, their income is calculated in the GNP of the Philippines, but not in the GDP. Gets? Because going back to the definition, it's only within the country's border. So if an OFW is in Japan or in China or in the US or in the UK, their income is not calculated in our GDP because that's outside of our border. However, it is part of the GNP because you go to the definition of GNP, sum of the market values of all final goods produced by the citizens. So the concern here is who? And here is where? Get that? That's the only difference. So that's why the income of OFWs, you do not include them in calculating the GDP. But you do in calculating for the GNP. Simple difference.